It's Debatable with Mark Gray here on MLBbro.com.
Rob Manfred's comments are really kind of conflicting with some of the actions. I mean, we're talking about an innovative leader who had to have words like diversity and equity and inclusion scrubbed from Major League Baseball's website in February. Then we had the East-West Classic in May, and then he says, well, sometimes you have to pivot. What do we make of this, especially now that we're moving towards the end of his career, where this would have seemed to be an opportunity you etch your place in history by making a critical social stance? Did he back off too far?
Right. And so I'm cynical of all these corporations, and I throw Major League Baseball in the discussion as a corporation. I'm cynical of all these corporations because I love when things like these happen, because it just exposes that these corporations ain't about what they say they are. You know, everybody likes to paint themselves and parade around the diversity and equity and inclusion, and we're on the right side of history, and we want to do the right thing, blah, 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 blah. We want to do the right thing unless a certain president is in office who's going to bully us and use the power of the executive chair against us. Well, then we'll back off. Then, because if you were really real about this, you would say, you know what, this is important. This is important for not only for the future of the game, but it's also important for communities across the world to know that we're behind diversity, inclusion.
That's why you got to hold Major League Baseball to a higher standard, don't you? I mean, when you talk about the personification of diversity, equity, and inclusion, you look at Dominican players, as you mentioned. You look at Puerto Rican players, as you mentioned. You're looking at now an Asian contingent that has come over and had a significant impact on the game. I saw what Tony Clark was talking about. Latino players are having to keep their papers with them at all times. They're stressing out. So if the leader of franchise, corporation, if you will, the CEO, so to speak, doesn't really stand up for the diversity of his employees, it's kind of head-scratching.
If you're on the right side of history, then you need to do the right thing all the time, right? You need to do the right thing all the time. And the right thing is to stand united in these efforts that are good for the game and good for our society as a whole, right? The diversity, equity, and inclusion. That's something that you sign your name on, and you have to stand by that. You know what I mean? You have to stand on 10 toes deep on that and say, you know what, we're going to go and we're going to do this. And yes, we may have some political fights that we may need to fight, or we may have some things that may not benefit us in the short term, but the long-term gain is too much to gain from to then just completely dispel it. Why? Because someone else is in office? But what about in 4 years? So in 4 years, when a liberal candidate gets elected, that's when we'll bring diversity and equity. You've done too much damage at that point.
You mentioned the term bully a few minutes ago. Is this a case of backing down to the bully? You're in Manfred's shoes. You got 3 or 4 more years before you get out. You don't want to rock the cart. Maybe the owners are in lock with the bully. What can you do?
If Rob Manfred would have said, listen, we just don't feel like having this fight with the president. It's just not worth getting into a political mudslinging right now. We have things that we need to worry about and concern ourselves with. It's not something that we're tabling completely, but it's just something that we're just not going to focus on right now. And you know what? I can at least respect that. But don't paint it like, oh, we've done so much work now that we don't even need to focus on that anymore. That's
for the man, Ram. I'm the OG. That's debatable for this week.
For more right now, go to MLBbro.com.